official is Gus St. Silva.
Tufts is expected to win, given that they are the defending national.
Let's meet the teams. First for visiting St. Joseph's, the non-starters. Number 4, Keenan Welzel. Number 7, Daniel Fox.
This guy, 00.
Number 9, Spencer Nagy.
NCAA men's soccer
Number
record
10,
for
Jesse Ramirez.
consecutive shutout minutes. And for consecutive
Number 15,
shutout games
TJ
at 19,
Hennessy.
which beat a 20-year-old record.
Number 18, Jonada
He
Mbongo.
allowed his first goal of the season.
Number 20, Mitchell Sear.
So there's always that.
Number 24, Quinn Hewitt.
They're 19-0.
Number 25, Colin Grant.
Scoreless tie with Norwich.
Number 27, Trevor Lopez.
Third.
Number 29, Brandon Leclerc.
Yeah, 19 straight games not allowing a
Number
goal.
30,
and something
Noah
on the order,
Elmore.
I want to say like 1,800 minutes.
Number 97, Coleman Rafiq.
Any goals so far,
Now the starters for the Monks. In goal, a junior from Manchester, Connecticut, wearing 00, Blake Mullen. Sophomore midfielder from Sanford, Maine, number 2, Mitchell Duncan. Sophomore midfielder from Gorham, Maine, number 3, Cody Elliott. Sophomore on defense from Gorham, Maine, number 5, Jackson Taylor. Sophomore midfielder from Clifton, New Jersey, number 6, Jojo Scabino. Junior tri-captain defenseman from Corona, California, number 8, Dalton Gama. Senior tri-captain on defense from Medfield, Mass, number 12, Sean Baker. Sophomore on defense from Situate, Rhode Island, number 13, Ryan Pinioto. Sophomore on defense from Wappingers Falls, New York, number 19, Noah Robinson. Junior midi from South Windsor, Connecticut, number 22, Rory Toomey. And the junior forward from Hobart, New York, number 32, Brett Matos. Our head coach of St. Joseph's is Adrian Dubois. He's assisted by Mike Sanfilippo, Kyle Shangra, as well as Will Pike. Now let's meet the Jumbos. First, the non-starters. Number 1, Bruce Johnson. Number 3, Christian Zazali. Number 8, Jack Delaney. Number 10, Brett Rojas. Number 12, Max Jacobs. Number 14, Zach Trevero. Number 15, Alex Retzin. Number 16, Biagio Paletta. Number 18, Jared Glover. Number 23, Derek Engie. Number 24, Tanner Jameson. Number 26, Calvin Arrow. Number 32, Noah Neve. Now the starting lineup for the Jumbos. A junior in goal from Montclair, New Jersey, wearing number 0, Connor Meek. Sophomore forward from Concord, Mass, number 2, Gavin Tasker. Senior midi from Wayne, New Jersey, number 6, Tyler Kulsar. Senior midfielder from Molinas, California, number 7, Dexter Eichhorst. Senior midfielder from Cranberry, New Jersey, number 9, Kevin Holliday. Freshman midfielder from Wilbraham, Mass, number 13, Travis Van Brewer. Sophomore midfielder from Lansing, Michigan, number 17, Zach Lane. Junior co-captain and back from Cape Elizabeth, Maine, number 19, Sterling Weatherby. Junior back from New York City, number 20, Jackson Najjar. Senior co-captain and back from Phoenix, Arizona, number 22, Connor Coleman. The senior back from Raleigh, North Carolina, number 27, Matt Zinner. The coach of Tufts is Josh Shapiro. He's assisted by Jordan Zitelli, Matt Topino, and Fernando Valencia. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask you to please rise, move your caps, and direct your attention to the flag as we honor America on this Veterans Day weekend with the playing of our national anthem.
And good day to you, D3 soccer fans. Welcome to NCAA second round tournament action from Bellow Field at Tufts University. I'm Andrew Macmillan, joined with my co-host Trevor Russo, and boy, do we have a barn burner for you today. St. Joseph's College of Maine going up against Tufts University, defending national champions of D3 soccer, and we're just looking forward to this. It's been a great time so far out here in Medford this weekend. Great game between Mitchell College and St. Joe's yesterday. Ended in a 2-1 victory for the Monks. That Monks defense has been so good so far this season, and it's a bit of a shock to hear that, yeah, actually, there was that first goal of the season allowed through by the Monks in the, I believe it was the 79th minute. So tough loss for Mitchell, but when you go up against the top-ranked defense in the country for D3 soccer, that's the kind of result you're probably going to get. So really just great result for Mitchell to get that first goal across the line. And yeah, we'll just have to see where it goes, because this top-ranked Monks defense is going up against the number 2 ranked Jumbo's defense. Jumbo's allowed only 1 goal over the course of the entire season, and a tough loss to a very capable Amherst squad. So they'll be out to keep that form up as they move along. Number 3 ranked Tufts squad going up against the currently unranked Joseph's Monks, the St. Joseph Monks, for this second round tournament action here. And Trevor, what do you think we're going to be looking for this second round tournament action game?
Well, I mean, you said it first. I think this is a match of 2 powerhouse defenses going up against each other. So probably we're not going to see much scoring action. If we do, that would be a heck of a surprise. But I think it's gonna come down to one play probably, or one team just manages to get it by the other.
You can hear in the background a little bit some of the more rowdier St. Joseph's fans getting going, and surprisingly large contingent coming down from Maine. Bit of a road trip for those folks to come all the way out here to Medford, but we welcome them. We love any and all D3 athletics fans who want to come on down and hang out with us as we cheer on our athletes. So on the opposite side of the ball, though, it's an interesting story to hear, because while the Monks have the top-ranked defense, having also allowed only 1 goal all season so far, they have one of the single best attacking players. That's right, Brett Matos. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Brett Matos. Tied for, I believe, 4th, so you can make the case that he's a top 5 attacker in the country right now, but tied for 4th with 20 goals this season. That's right, you heard that right, folks. Wow. 20 goals so far this season, his most recent being the first goal scored yesterday in the contest against Mitchell. So the Jumbos are really going to need to shut him down and keep him away from dangerous plays, and keep his playmaking ability shut down for the rest of for the entirety of this game, really. And so the Jumbo defense, that Jumbo backfield, is going to have their work cut out for them. That's Sterling Weatherby. That's folks like our own goalkeeper, Connor Meath, who need to keep things locked down and all together if they want to continue their quest to defend their national championship. But for now, we'll just have to see where this goes. And we've got a kickoff. The Monks are going to take the ball first in the first half here. That's number 2, Mitchell Duncan, and 32, Brett Matos, starting things off. And for anyone watching, for the sake of simplicity, the near side, that's number 19, Noah Robinson. And the ball closer to us is going to be the near side. Anything out on the right is way out away from us is the far side. So nothing to do with the near and left or right, but near and far. That's going to be pass out to number 2. That's going to be Gavin Tasker moving in, but number 22, Connor Coleman, will be there to make things happen out on the far side. Ball's moving around. That's Mitchell Duncan once again fighting for it, loses it. That's Nathan Najjar making a play happen, and back into the Monks backfield. Number 5. It's a little bit too much going on out there to see. Monks defenders, that's going to be number 22, Rory Toomey, making the play there. Toomey fishing the ball away, but that's going to come right back into the Monks backfield as the Jumbos retake possession. Tasker again, out on the far side. That's with number 13, Halliday. Or excuse me, Travis Van Brewer. All the way back, that's going to be back for Nathan Najjar to take control and keep things going. Back to the Jumbos. That's Tasker again. Moving through the midfield, but he loses that right back to Matos, and Matos will pass it back to number 12, Sean Baker, in the backfield. That's Zach Lane knocking it out, or fighting for it. It doesn't lose it, though, and that'll be 27, Matt Zinner, taking it through. Jackson Najjar back out to 22, Connor Coleman in the backfield. Coleman and Najjar are going to be your two sweepers and making sure that nothing, absolutely nothing, gets by from this St. Joe's offense. A little bit back and forth right now, and it's egregious play from number 19, Sterling Weatherby. Too violent for the ref to let that go. That's going to be a St. Joseph's free kick. First of the game so far, and if this energy keeps up, we could see a few more of those as the game progresses. 42-55 left. We are 2 minutes into the first half here. Stoppage time, of course, will allow for a little bit more. This is the kind of thing that it allows for. Can't quite see who's taking that free kick on the far side, but it's St. Joe's. People are setting up at the top of the box. Not super dangerous just yet. That's going to be lofted. Jump ball is going to be one. That'll be Zach Lane who takes it away. Number 9, Halliday. Kevin Halliday there taking control. Loses it. That's 13, Travis Van Brewer again in the center. And Van Brewer takes a bit of a fall. Maybe just a little bit of theatrics to draw the call. He's still down on the ground, and Tufts will take the free kick. And an opposite setup from the last minute will take over. Pass out to Jackson Najjar. That's going to be number 27 on the near side. Matt Zinner, who sends it up. And that's going to be a little bit too much for, I believe that was number 4 on the Tufts side. No, number 4. Oh, we are in the way. Back up, Travis, or Trevor. There we go.
Come on, man.
Number 9, Suso. Sorry about that, folks. That is the near side. That was our cameraman getting my attention there. Number 19, and that's going to be taken away once again by Dexter Eichhorst this time. Tasker back again in the center, taking control. That's going to be Kolsar. Tyler Kolsar controls it, sends it back out to the far side. And that's number 14, excuse me. Not Zach Lane. Can't quite see who it is out on the far side, folks, but that's going to be a St. Joe's ball. Monks take the throw in there as Tasker keeps the pressure up. Pass all the way back in. It's going to hop right out from the Monks side of things and get it right back to the Jumbos. That's going to be Coleman in the back. Just resetting things. Cross out to number 27, Zinner. Pass back up is going to be intercepted this time by number 22 on the Monks side. That's Rory Toomey making the play there. Toomey still on the wing. That's going to be a pass up to Cody Elliott. Elliott with a beautiful play and a big fall there, draws a huge cry from the St. Joe's fans, but no call there from the ref. That's going to be a pass back to Coleman once again. Coleman controls, passes up the far side. That'll be Halliday, it looks like. Halliday, big cross to the center. Zach Lane is there, can't quite make the play, and that's going to be scooped up by Blake Mullen. Not his first, I don't believe that'll count as a save, but he's there to smother any pretensions of a goal or playmaking ability from Zach Lane. So big throw all the way back to the Tufts area. Is going to be headed by Jackson Najjar. Controlled and then subsequently lost by the Monks there. And big fall from number 2. That's Matt Zinner again. Kind of a trip there. Don't really know what happened there. Dramatic fall, definitely. You can kind of see him float through the air a little bit. Not too happy from the Monks fans, but that's the way it goes. So recontrolled by Coleman. Going back to Najjar. Najjar, pass up to Lane. Lane challenged by number 19. That's Noah Robinson on the near side. Bit of a fall, but no call. Crossed, lost by the Monks, recontrolled by the Jumbos. That's number 19 for the Jumbos. Sterling Weatherby on the far side. Good play by Mitchell Duncan there to try to control it, but no good as Coleman is there to take the throw in for the Jumbos. Coleman actually hands that back over to Weatherby. Weatherby to Van Brewer. Van Brewer loses it, though, in the center. That's Mitchell. Immediately back to Brett Matos. He loses it back to Jackson Najjar. Najjar passes up to Lane. Lane on the near side again. Challenged. Back to Zinner. Zinner crosses over to Coleman. Coleman recontrols, still in Monk's territory. Nothing really present for the Jumbos, though. Vaunted playmaking ability not quite present as the Monk's defense has held firm. That's going to be Brett Matos charging up the wing again. Mitchell Duncan is there. Too far, too much for Duncan to do anything with that. And Connor Coleman will let that roll out and retake it as a Jumbos throw-in. That's going to be Weatherby on the throw-in. Weatherby to Van Brewer. Fancy footwork from Van Brewer, but he just passes it back to Coleman. Coleman crosses to Zinner. Lane's open, but Zinner's going to take it up himself as he keeps his eyes to the center. That's Kolsar back again. Out to the far side for Van Brewer. No, Van Brewer's in the center, excuse me. Cross back to Jackson Ajar. Ajar to Zinner. Considering their options right now as the Monks defense resets once again. Coleman. That one's out to number 19 for the Jumbos. Knocking around to the backfield, and that's going to be 22 Toomey again. Rory Toomey making the play. You can see his blonde hair riffling through the wind right now. That's going to be number 3, Cody Elliott, charging into the box. Coleman is there, though, to keep things from happening too quickly. Penalty kick as Elliott sends it out by accident, and that'll be just enough for Connor Meath to take the kick. Matos, Elliott, and Duncan all sort of staying up to keep the pressure on, but there's not a whole lot to do there with a penalty kick. Short pass. That one's to number 19 for the Jumbos on the far side, Sterling Weatherby. Weatherby comes back out to the near side, and that's going to be Zinner, who charges up again. Challenged by Elliott. No good. Zinner keeps it up, sends it up to number 7. That's going to be right back to Eichhorst. Eichhorst centers back to Halliday a couple of times. Monk's defense holds firm. Eichhorst, header from Zach Land is going to be wide, corralled by Blake Mullen, and that's going to be no good for the Jumbos. And a good second attempt there as the speed was a little bit too much for the Monks as they had to keep guessing from what the Jumbos were going to do next. But defense holds firm once again. Well, a good reaction time from everyone. Just saved by Sean Baker, but not quite good enough. That's going to be back to Zinner. Eichhorst again. In the center, charges through, and no Jumbos are there to capitalize on what was going on there. And a little bit too much energy coming in from number 7 on the Jumbos side. That was Dexter Eichhorst. Just a little too in your face, I think, for the refs here to really let that go. So Mullen, some more nice work from him to keep the game knotted at 0. Short pass to number 12, Sean Baker on the near side. Baker challenged by Lane. That's going to be back to numbers Kolsar. Keeps it centered. Back to Lane on the near side. Lane working with Noah Robinson. Robinson and Lane going to be seeing a lot of each other as the game progresses. Kolsar challenges. That's going to be Coleman who comes back to keep things together. Nothing doing for Blake Mullen, who corrals it and brings it back out for a reset as the game clock ticks down closer to 35 minutes. We are 10 minutes into the first half here, still tied at 0 between the Tufts University Jumbos and the St. Joseph's College Monks. Zinner crosses out to Gavin Tasker, who's all by himself up there except for Jackson Taylor. Taylor does a nice job challenging him and keeps him from doing anything. In the moment, though. Sterling Weatherby is going to pick up the throw-in for the Jumbos as the teams move up and coalesce in the penalty box area of the Monks. Jumbos have been doing a good job of keeping the ball in Monks territory, but still nothing to show for it just yet. Good header from the Monks defense, and that's going to be Mitchell Duncan, who keeps it back out to the top of the box. Duncan is there again, and that's going to be Elliott this time, who charges in and keeps things from progressing further. Free kick for the Monks. Didn't quite see what was happening there, but enough to send both squads back towards the midfield. It's a really nice shutdown defense right now, and it's mostly the midfielding and attacking cores sort of exchanging chess moves at this point. It's not quite passionate enough to call it too much of a soccer game yet, but first 10 minutes, first 11 minutes now, just sort of probing the defenses and finding out where the weak spots are. Defenses have held for him, and that's a really nice header from Brett Matos to sort of set up Elliott. Elliott can't quite do too much with that, and that's going to be a throw in for, oh, that's a Monk's free kick. A little bit too aggressive there for a bit of a theme, actually, for the Jumbos when it comes down to the engagement of the two. Throw in for the Monks. We have some fans kind of in the way right now. It's the unfortunate part of not having a press box up here. We have to be down with the unwashed masses, as it were. You can still hear the cheering from the crowd right now. That's going to be number 12, Sean Baker again, to keep it in Tufts territory. Monks still keeping it together. That's going to be Coleman, who charges in and sends it back out to the near side. Rolls out for the Monks. Monks maintain the pressure now. They get the throw in here. And the best chance they've got so far this game to make a play and see what they can do against this Tufts defense. Coleman and Najjar have done a great job anchoring this backfield right now. But this could be Meath's first test. Still bumping around in the box. Few heads, still up. That's going to sail wide, though. That was Brett Matos trying to throw something up and allow someone on the far post away from us to be present and to capitalize, but nothing doing, and Connor Meath gets to take his second goal kick of the game. Both teams backing up into Monks territory. Monks keeping the pressure up against the short pass. Long kick. Missed header from Zach Lane. That's going to be picked up by Toomey. Toomey out to number 19, Robinson. Sliding tackle is a good one, but Robinson is equal to the challenge. And a rowdy call there, as you can very easily hear both sides of things going on right now. Robinson is equal to the challenge to keep the Zach Lane from the sliding tackle there. That's going to be Baker now. Baker challenged by Lane. Baker sends it right back to number 8, Dalton Gomer. Gomer passes it way up the far side to Borniudo, excuse me. Borniudo checks it off the Jumbo's defender, checking him, and that'll be it back to the throw-in. Sent all the way up. Brett Matos challenging Connor Coleman. They get locked in a little bit of a scuffle, but that's going to roll out and be a Tufts penalty kick once again. Matos not quite able to make a play on anything with that. Coleman smothering any pretensions of a playmaking run there. Connor Meath once again on the penalty kick. Jumbos and Monks slowly walk themselves back towards the midfield. Meath considering his options, letting the clock run down a little bit. Big kick, lofted all the way up for, that's Kulsar, who goes and misses the header. Back to Duncan. Mitchell Duncan on the far wing there. Outnumbered a bit by Jumbo's defenders, but he gets it back out to Toomey in the center. Toomey crosses, that's going to be out to Noah Robinson with Zach Lane challenging, moving quickly, and that's going to be Matt Zinner who picks up the slack there on the defensive side of things, and that's going to roll out just enough for Connor Meath to take his next penalty kick of the game. Lots to do here, lots to see now that the defenses are starting to commit slightly more to some energetic attacks on both ends of the field. We're going to hopefully see a few more breakaway plays and a little bit more action closer into the goals as we move into the central part of this first half. Kulser and Toomey go for it. Kulser wins the header battle there. That's going to be Dexter Eichhorst fighting for it, but that's going to fly back to Coleman. Recontrolled by the Monks, and that's going to be number 13, Ryan Borniudo again. Borniudo flying up the wing. He's going to stop that check. Coleman's going to challenge. Centered to number 3, Elliott, but Elliott is not quite far enough along to corral it and can't quite make it happen in the penalty box. Monks will reset for another attack, and that's going to be number 19, Noah Robinson, who sends it in for number 12, Baker. Matos crosses again. Matos challenging. That's going to be just enough for the Jumbos to bring it back into Monk's territory. Gavin Tasker cruising up the wing now. He'll pass up to number 9, Kevin Halliday. Halliday back. Back to Tasker again. Tasker tripped up a little bit, but he stays on his feet. Tasker moving in, crosses this time to Zach Lane, but he's going to be beaten to the punch by number 10, that was Dalton Gomer on the play there. Really nice heads-up play from Dalton Gomer to get in front of Zach Lane. That's still Halliday. Kevin Halliday sort of moving back around. He gets a little bit tangled up in Toomey there. No dice for the Jumbos yet, but they get their first corner kick of the game. That's going to be number 13, Travis Van Brewer on the kick. Gives his team a few minutes to set up. Most Jumbos moving in from the top of the box, only one really in goal. And another nice heads-up play, this time from number 6, Jojo Strabino, to keep things from happening. Lofted in. Monks are there to keep it out and away from Blake Mullen again. That's going to be Zinner who takes control of the ball. That'll be from Mitchell Duncan. Zinner moving back into the box. He's open. That's going to be a pass from Coleman, but pass from Coleman is too far, and corralled by Blake Mullen will kill that play and reset for the Monks and Jumbos as they retreat back towards the midfield line. 27:30 left to play in the first half. Coming down towards the halfway point, both teams are making some more dedicated efforts to break the defenses right now, and it's paying off. Definitely a bit more energy being expended right now. No substitutions yet. That's going to be Toomey out to the wing again. That'll be number 12, Baker. Baker up to Matos. Matos out to number 19, Robinson. Robinson. Robinson sends it all the way up right into the waiting hands of Connor Meath. Meath will corral it and roll it back out to the far side. And his guardian angel out there, Sterling Weatherby, who sends it all the way up for Halliday. Halliday and Eichhorst both there to work it, but Gavin Tasker will take the throw in for the Jumbos. Throw in for the Jumbos, corralled by Eichhorst. That's Eichhorst. Oh, a little bit of a shake-up there for Kevin Halliday. He's not thrilled with the absence of a call, but that was him just getting tripped up over his own feet, looks like. Takes a fall, and once again, no dice for the Jumbos on that run. Mullen's pass is going to find Matos, who heads it over towards the far side. And that's going to be misplay from Sterling Weatherby, allowing what looks to be Cody Elliott to work with it, but no good for the Monks there as everyone resets. And a holding call on the Monks there will give the ball back to the Jumbos. Quick play from Eichhorst is going to give it over to Tasker, but Tasker's out number 2-1. He beats the challenge, though, and he charges back deep into Monks territory, loses it quickly, though, in the face of the solid Monks defense. And once again, Mullen takes a penalty kick, a goal kick. Really excellent defensive game from both teams so far. This keeps up, we're going to see some more penalty kicks for, won't be the first time in Tufts history. But this looks to be the kind of consistent defensive play that both teams can keep up all game. Jumbos corral that. That's going to be Tyler Kolser. Back to Zinner. Zinner working against Duncan. Zinner crosses. That'll be Coleman who picks it up. Out to Weatherby on the far side. Sterling Weatherby back to Coleman. And Jumbos consider their options once again. Coleman to Zinner. Zinner back to Najjar. Najjar passes up to the far side. That'll be Tasker waiting for it. He can't quite control it, though, and that'll be back to the Monks for a throw-in. Jackson Taylor is there for the Monks. Taylor's throw-in out to Coleman. Coleman loses it, though, and that'll be right back to Van Brewer. Van Brewer exchanging blows between himself and the Monks defense. Blake Mullen will corral that, though, and kill that run of plays for now. Punted. This one will be Coleman, who I say found, not entirely true, but a push from, that was Duncan side. He slows it down, though, enough for Elliott to catch up. And he loses it once again in the face of this Monks defense. Coleman is there once again to kick it back up. Kind of a Mexican impasse has been found as the ball spends most of its time technically in Monks territory, but not really anywhere close to the goal. So it's kind of a dead space right now as the two teams continue working to find some kind of weakness that can be exploited right now. Nothing doing yet as both teams have had some excellent plays thanks to their conditioning and ball handling right now, but it's not quite a war of attrition either. Still just thinking about what's going on as Najjar takes it back again out to Zinner. Options considered. That's going to be Elliott on the pressure. Eichhorst. And Zinner draws the foul. That's actually going to be a bit stronger. That's a yellow card there on Brett Matos. Not brilliant play there as we mentioned earlier, Brett Matos is one of those that you cannot lose in a game like this against highly touted Jumbo's team.
That's
so
huge.
Unfortunate development there for the Monks.
Now that number 32 has that yellow card, he's going to have to tone down his aggressiveness that's made him the number 4 scorer in the league. So this could actually be huge for the Jumbos to have that card on him now.
Beautiful free kick from Halliday is going to be pulled in by Blake Mullen, and that actually I think is going to count as a save because it was angling for the upper far corner from our view back here. Zinner though is back in to reapply the pressure. Halliday loses it though, and that's going to be Robinson back up the wing. Mitchell Duncan back on it. Duncan loses it though, back to Jackson Najjar. Najjar to Van Brewer. Van Brewer back to Eichhorst. Eichhorst loses it. Eichhorst regains it. Toomey's though there to take it away. A little bit lots of missing some of the action right now. Can't quite see too much of what's going on, but it's a tough throw-in right now. First substitutions of the game, though. This is going to be Van Brewer is going to find his first rest of the game as Jack Delaney hops in to the midfield core. Zinner out to Najjar as we reset once again. Cross to Connor Coleman on the far side. That's Sterling Weatherby. Weatherby controls it. And his pass is going to be another cross. Zach Lane looking for an option. Controls it. Left foot. And a great save from Blake Mullen is going to keep this game tied at 0. Also good. Nice heads-up defensive play. I believe that was Sean Baker who was there to pick him up and clear that to keep any sort of anything else from happening on that play.
What an amazing save by double zeros there.
For St. Joseph's is number 27, Trevor Oakes, replacing number 13,
Ryan Borniudo is going to find his first rest of the game as Trevor Lopes hops in. Trevor Lopes, a senior forward from Cumberland, Rhode Island. He'll find his first action of the game and hopes for some fresh legs for some more attacking power. That's going to be Matt Zinner, though, charging up into the field. Zinner, something of a defensive asset right now. Interesting to see him charging up, but we are just moving down towards the 20-minute mark. Still tied at 0 as 25 minutes have now passed. This is the kind of defensive matchup that we were looking for, though. Top 2 defenses in the country each have only allowed 1 goal so far this season. And so it's down to finding out what, finding the one weakness. It's going to be one tiny slip-up that one of the teams has to capitalize on, and we'll just have to see how it goes, though. Out to the far side now, that'll be a St. Joseph's throw-in. Can't quite see. That'll be number 5, Jackson Taylor again on the throw-in. Somewhat far down the line, but a nice throw, and that's going to be Duncan. Duncan elopes, working along with it. Cross from Tasker out to Lane. Lane to Eichhorst. Back to Lane. This one's going to be found by Sterling Weatherby. Lopes is there to challenge. And the St. Joe's defense retakes it. Holds firm once again as the next Jumbo attack is parried easily. Tasker's back, though, on the far side. He cruises in, loses it again, though. That's Lopes now. Lopes finding his way into the game. And loses it there. And that's Weatherby again. Or excuse me, that was Halliday. Halliday's finding his way into the action right now. Delaney is there. That'll be sent out to the defense core. Jackson Ajar. Zinner to Delaney. Delaney to Eichhorst. And lost there. Nothing doing for Delaney. A little bit of a limp there, so he looks to be running that off, though. Couldn't have been too comfortable, though, to make that to lose that kind of ball. Najar back out to Kolsar. Kolsar moving up back into Monk's territory. Pass to Eichhorst. Eichhorst, a little bit too much of a pass up to Tasker, and the Monk's defense is there to send it right back out. Kolsar regains control, though. That's Eichhorst again. Eichhorst to Tasker. And a beautiful, beautiful save from Blake Mullen keeps the game tied at 0. I believe that was Tasker, Eichhorst, and Halliday making a play. Lane was watching from afar, but a good effort to sort of chip it back away from Blake Mullen was not quite good enough. Mullen corrals it, keeps the game tied at 0.
Now, Mullen's play was even more impressive by the fact that he was still trying to get set. He was backpedaling on this play, and he was still able to get in a position to dive and make the save.
Definitely one of the great keepers in, quite frankly, all of collegiate soccer right now. So props to him, and I hope he can keep this performance up right now. It is just a treat to see him play. Good cross to Lane. Lane doesn't have anything to work with, though, and that'll be back to Zinner. Zinner charges past Elliott this time. Back out to Lane on the wing, though. 2-on-2. Back to Zinner. Zinner sets himself up. Pat centered. That'll be to Tasker. Monks charge in, and that's going to be another shot from Weatherby, who can't quite make it happen. He slips down, and that finds its way off of a Monks defenseman, it looks like, and good enough for the second Tufts corner kick of the game.
For the Jumbos is number 10, Brett Rojas. Placing number 7, Dexter Eichhorst.
Dexter Eichhorst takes his first rest of the game as Brett Rojas comes on. Brett Rojas, the hero of quite a lot of Tufts playoff soccer, especially of last season, but definitely one of the more passionate players. He's been known to get a little bit hot-headed when it matters for the Jumbos. Corner kick's going to fly up and be defeated by the St. Joe's defense there. And that'll be set up off of Sean Baker for another corner kick. Jumbo's definitely making more plays happen, more shots on goal, more corner kicks than the St. Joe's offense can right now. And so it seems to be just a matter of time until they can keep it happen. But Blake Mullen has been stellar, as he has been this entire season. Corner kick lofted. Not quite good enough there, and that will be easily cleared by number 15, Noah Robinson again. A little bit of pushing going on right there, but nothing too egregious. That'll be Trevor Lopes charging back in up with Brett Rojas. Rojas still working. Be knocked away by the Monks. Been regained by Gavin Tasker. Tasker pass up to Lane, defeated by the Monks defenseman in goal there. That would be Baker. Looked to be a bit of a handball there, but no call on Delaney. Delaney charges in, knocked away by Blake Mullen, who dives on top of it. Nothing too scary after that, but definitely another good play from Blake Mullen in goal there. He's the linchpin for this. If the Monks can get something happen, you know, find the chink in Tufts' armor and get the goal, they'll be all right. But for now, it's definitely on. The pressure's on the Monks defense and Blake Mullen. Pass back out to Zinner. Connor Meath is going to be there to corral it. No actual play there. I think the ball just kind of squirted away from Coleman, Zinner, and Najjar. Coulser's there. He'll switch the field again. Back out to the far side. Bit more action happening out on the far side than the near side right now. A little difficult for us to see from this non-press box vantage point we've got, but it's good enough. Coleman to Najjar. Still pressure being put on from Brett Matos. Pass back out to Delaney. Delaney to Tasker. Tasker outnumbered 2v1. He loses it there to Lopes. Lopes, a little bit of fancy footwork. Nothing good.
Now, I don't know if this is just part of their strategy or what they like to do, getting fast breaks, but it seems to me we have two very different styles of play. Jumbos love to control the ball. If you put a time of possession graph, it would probably be very stark in contrast to the Monks. The Monks just, they make great tackles, and then they just take the ball and then just boot it upfield. And sometimes that's been working for them, but more often than not, it hasn't.
Definitely a faster style of play coming from these Monks right now, as the Jumbos like to sort of take their time and have some more thought in. I don't want to say that the Monks think less than the Jumbos do on the field, but they're definitely a much more reactionary type of style of play. I'll agree with you there. This is another large kick from Lopes is going to be blocked by Rojas. Rojas and Halliday out on the wing. Much too violent on the push there from Halliday. The rowdier of the Tufts fans have showed up too to bemoan any call against their beloved soccer squad right now. So those will be the moans you hear in the background. Mullen's free kick is going to be lofted into the center. Brett Matos wins the first and the second of the heading competitions there. And he'll take control of the ball, or just barely, and that'll be kicked away by Brett Rojas out for a Monks throw-in deep in, not deep, but solidly in Tufts territory. Two substitutions for the Monks coming on. That'll be number 8, Dalton.
On for the Jumbos is number 15, Alex Ratson, replacing number 9, Kevin Holliday. Number 14, Zachary Trevorrow, replacing number 2, Gavin Tasker. And number 12, Max Jacobs, replacing number 20, Jackson Najjar. St. Joseph's, number 30, Noah Elmore, replaces number 2, Mitchell Duncan. And number 10, Jesse Ramirez, replaces number 3, Cody Elliott.
That was Jacobs, Trevorrow, and Ratson who moved in for the Jumbos. An entirely new set of legs to finish out the game, or the half. 11.5 minutes going on for left in the first half of regulation time. There'll be a few minutes of stoppage to account for the time missed, but large substitutions there. 3 new midfielders for the Jumbos and 2 new midfielders also for the Monks. So both coaches doing their best to keep things, keep the other teams guessing as we move into the last 10 minutes of the half. Lopes is there to take the header, but that'll be kicked away by Zinner. Zinner's pass is picked up by Jackson Taylor. Toomey is there, but he'll lose that immediately to number 12, Jacobs. That'll be Sterling Weatherby now. Weatherby back on the near side for the first time this game. Colstar's header is going to sail out of bounds for the Monks to pick up. And that'll be number 19, Noah Robinson on the first. Good throw is going to be whiffed on by Sterling Weatherby and number 30, Noah Elmore. Elmore is getting his first crack at this new Tufts defense. Putting a good effort in there, but when you're 5 against 1 by yourself deep in enemy territory, there's not much you can do. Pass up to Lane. Lane's going to be challenged by Jesse Ramirez, his first action of the game. Ramirez up against Jacobs. Weatherby. Weatherby crosses. This time out to Trevorrow. Trevorrow to Delaney. Delaney's pass is going to miss the mark. I believe that was Alex Ratson who was he was aiming for. but it'll sail right into the hands of Blake Mullen. 10 minutes to go, 9:48 left in the half of regulation time. Not too much right now, but this is the time for something to happen. Defenses have gotten to know each other, see what's what, see how they react to the fluidity of each other's attacks, and something is bound to happen in the next 10 to 12 minutes, I would say. Monks control, but that's going to be taken away by Brett Rojas. Rojas on a bit of a breakaway. There are plenty of Monks defenders there to handle him, though. And that will be, that will squirt away and be what looks to, that will turn into what looks to be a Monks free kick. Monks goal kick, in fact. His Mullen takes his next goal kick of the game with 8:55 left to play in the first half. Teams haven't been testing each other too much aerobically with moving the ball around too much. And drawing cries from both sides of the stands here on that bit of elbow locking. Weatherby's pass up to Zach Land is good, but not good enough because there are two Monks defenders there. Lane makes a play out of it, though. Gets the Tufts throw in.
I like the decision-making, though, because he had the two guys right near the sideline. So if he gets it through, that's a great pass. If he doesn't, it's a throw-in for the Jumbos.
Lane sets himself up, lofts it. That was Coleman with the attempted header there, and Weatherby with the attempted bicycle kick. Another header from number 14, that was Trevorrow. And a great shot is going to sail over the pipes for Blake Mullen to pursue. Not that he needed to at that point in time. Game stays tied at 0 as the next Tufts attack is fended off once again by this incredibly competent St. Joe's defense. Very easy to want to wilt under the combined attack of this very physical Tufts squad right now. Very physical and very capable attacking core. But nothing doing so far. St. Joe's have proven equal to the task. Toomey, that's going to be number 6, Jojo Strabino, working with the Jumbos attacking. Elmore, that ball will bounce into the stands as Rojas and Lane will let that trickle out for the Jumbos. Robinson will take the throw in here for the Monks. A lot of pressure from the Jumbos here, keeping a fair amount of people in Monks territory despite the danger as the Monks do their best to move back into Jumbo territory. Ramirez, really nice job on the 3v1 the hard way. That'll be out to Strabino, who switches the field. Strabino to Taylor. Taylor back out to Robinson. Robinson has been doing a fantastic job this game, probing the Tufts defense and keeping Lane from making anything happen. He's going to misplay that ball, though, and give that over to the Jumbos for their next throw-in. More substitutions for the Jumbos. You can hear the PA announcer.
Placing number 8, Jack Delaney. And number 23, Derek Engie. Placing number 17, Zach Lane.
Calvin Arrow and Derek Engie, I believe. Or Engie. Coming in for Tufts, Weatherby on the next throw-in. That'll be up there for Jacobs. Jacobs working against the Monks defense. His cross is going to be picked up by Blake Mullen and smothered as the clock ticks down towards 5 minutes left in regulation time for the first half. Pass up the far side. Another one. This one out to Elmore. Elmore fighting Zinner. And they're going to let that trickle all the way out for Connor Meath's next goal kick. Bit of a quiet game for Meath, as we said earlier. Not too much action going on. He's had a little bit to work with, but it's not since, I believe it was closer into 25 minutes left in the half. It's been a good almost half hour since he's seen any serious action. Short pass up to Coleman. Coleman up to Zinner. Zinner controls it himself, though, and keeps up with the Tufts philosophy of ball control. Pass all the way out to Weatherby. Weatherby on the near side is going to recross it back to Coleman. Coleman up to Zinner. Zinner back. A little bit too much pressure from the Monks here, but nothing really on the near side. Weatherby considers his options again. He'll be looking to cross it, which he does, right back to Coleman. Tufts backline slowly bringing it up into Monks territory, but there's nothing, you know, the fish aren't biting for anyone, except for Coleman. Coleman finds Enge. Enge falls over, though, and can't stay with it. Jumbos will retake it there. That's Brett Rojas. Rojas and Trevorrow. But Elmore is there. Or excuse me, Strabino. Strabino's there. Robinson. Robinson fighting with Jacobs. Jacobs. Weatherby's shot is going to bounce right off to me. Kolsar's there, though, to take it back. And that's number 26 for the Jumbos. 26, Arrow. Zinner is back, though. Keeps the Monks clearance from sailing too far into Jumbo territory. Coleman is back with the ball. That's going to be number 14, Ratson, with the ball. Rojas fighting with number 5, Taylor. It'll be a Jumbo throw-in, and that's number 14, excuse me, Trevorrow taking the throw-in. 3 minutes left in regulation play for this second round NCAA tournament game between the Tufts University Jumbos and the St. Joseph's College Monks. The two top-ranked defenses in the entire tournament for D3 play. Both teams have allowed only one goal all season. That first goal against the Monks coming yesterday in their tournament game versus Mitchell College. Meanwhile, the Jumbos lost in a heartbreaking fashion to Amherst, the Amherst Mammoths, 1-0. Very capable squads, though, both of them here, as they have easily demonstrated so far, keeping things knotted right where they began. First corner, though, that was the Tufts' next best opportunity, though. They're going to lose it just like that. That's Lopes clearing it all the way back up the far side, and good enough to keep things far, far away from Blake Mullen. But much of the same as we mentioned earlier, Monks did not feel as if they needed to control it. They just wanted to clear it and get it the hell out of their territory. So Jumbos will take it, though. Jumbos like the possession. That's Coleman and Zinner. Zinner's pass all the way up to Tasker. Really nice fast break, but much too powerful for Tasker to corral and make it happen. Another substitution, this time for the Monks. That'll be Lopes coming out. Kenan Welzel will come on for the last couple of minutes of this first half. See if they can see if he can solve the puzzle of the Tufts backfield. A little bit of a header volley is going to be stopped by Kolsar, who passes it out to Enge. Enge pass all the way up to Jacobs. Jacobs glances it off amongst defender, and that'll be Sterling Weatherby who comes up to take the throw in. Calling up all the reinforcements now. Only Zinner is back for the Jumbos. 60 seconds left for the half. Weatherby's throw-in is going to be defeated by the Monks defenders. Coleman's there. You hear some. That'll be a goal kick. Monks once again defeat the Jumbo attack. Blake Mullen biding his time, letting the half run out as he ought to.
A lot of time being spent.
No reason really to let the Jumbos do anything else left in the half. It's been a great half for both, but definitely advantage Jumbos if we're going to think about it a little bit more for moving into the second half. You can hear the countdown from the PA announcer right now. And that will be it for the first half. Both teams jog off towards their respective sidelines. And the St. Joseph's Monks just have to be ecstatic with that result, just going up against the third-ranked team in the country right now, with the only one with a defense as good as theirs. And coming away from the first half with a scoreless tie is, quite frankly, stellar. Don't really know how well it bodes for them, though, as they were clearly outclassed in terms of shots on goal and just amount of time spent in possession of the ball and in possession of the ball away from their goal. So any thoughts, Trevor, before we take a quick break for the half?
Yeah, I have a couple thoughts. For one, I think that coming into next half, the Monks need to really focus on controlling the ball a little more. I mean, I know it's not their style, and their best player, number 32, has been sort of neutralized, but I'm going to point out one play like a couple minutes ago that happened where they cleared the ball right to the Jumbo's goaltender. Now, they had a man advantage. They had the player with the ball had about 2 or 3 different options he could have gone to, and they could have had a nice run there, but instead they just decided to clear it out. And another play, probably their best chance came on a little bit of an unknown play. The Jumbo's first corner, the Jumbos lost the ball, and it was a one-on-one between a Monks player and number 27 of the Jumbos. And if number 27 hadn't made that tackle, it probably would have been a one-on-zero breakaway and could have resulted in a goal for the Monks. So an excellent play I want to highlight there.
Indeed. Well, both teams very capable of moving on right now. Jumbos have a fair bit of an advantage. Stick around, and we'll see what we got in the second half. Don't go. And welcome back to the second half of this second round NCAA tournament game between the Tufts University Jumbos and the St. Joseph's College Monks. Great first half of stellar defensive play between the two squads. We'll obviously be seeing more of that as we move through the second half here. Potentially 2 periods of overtime followed by penalty kicks if things hold up the way that they have. But that's in the future. The time is now. Tufts starts off with the ball. We've got Brett Rojas and Kevin Holliday in the center to take the kickoff for the Jumbos. Got Gavin Tasker now for the first time over on the near side. You can see him closer into us on your screen, and we'll probably, if anything, see a lot more of the action closer in to our side of the field, so we can give you a little bit better idea of what's going on for that. For now, though, Holliday passes back into the back line. That'll be Sterling Weatherby, who picks up the first one and crosses it all the way up to Gavin Tasker, close into the Tufts side of things. Knocked away by the defender, Taylor, and that'll be Tufts. And just like that, Tufts has their first corner kick of the half. That one didn't come until a good 10 to 15 minutes into the first half, so it bodes well for the Tufts offense. Looks to be Holliday in on the corner. Holliday's kick goes out to the center. Moved in and knocked away by Mullen. Great effort from Coleman, but an even better effort from Mullen keeps the game tied at 0. And a beautiful save is how this game, is how the second half gets started. Tufts ball again. That's going to be Sterling Weatherby, who takes the inbound. Travis Van Brewer up there, but pressure from Elliott is going to keep it away from him. Long inbound. Coleman goes up for it, but misses. Coleman's still there. Monks looking to clear again. Tufts still controlling the ball deep in territory. That's going to be Coleman again. Still finding his way into most of the action right now. Pass back to not Van Brewer. That's going to be Weatherby, who centers. Back out to the side. And a really great play is going to keep it back out. It's all by himself up there is Mitchell Duncan going up against this Tufts back line. That'll be come back to Connor Meath. Meath to Zinner. Zinner back to Van Brewer. Van Brewer sets himself up. That's Kolsar who passes up to Eichhorst. Eichhorst to Weatherby. Weatherby back to Coleman. And we are back to probably the most common scenario of the first half with the Jumbo's back line sort of considering their options and playing a little, having themselves a grand old time. A little too much energy coming from Brett Rojas, one of the more physical players of the Tufts midfield core. Being a bit of a nuisance right now for Blake Mullen. Not entirely necessary, but you know, mind games, important for all this kind of stuff, as Mullen's free kick sails out into Jumbo territory and is corralled by the Jumbos. They'll hand it right back over to Noah Robinson on the far side, who beats Zach Lane and starts moving it up, and that's going to be Duncan again on the far side. Knocked away by a Tufts defender, and that'll be the Monks' first corner kick of the half. So already in the first 5 minutes, a lot more action happening than in really, quite honestly, the first 20 to 25 minutes of the first half. So definitely a bit something new for this second half as we tick down past 42 minutes. 3 minutes in, you can hear the rumble of the Monks fans in the stands stomping their feet in the background. And that's Duncan on the kick. This one's lofted into the center. Knocked away by Coleman, and Monks will get to try again.
Yeah, first real, I guess, foray into the Tufts box in a while for
first one for the whole
Monks.
team, as it were.
Surprising.
Elliott again. That's going to be knocked away this time by Halliday. Toomey's attempt is knocked away also. That one rolls in towards Connor Meath, but no, Mugs are there to capitalize on it, and Meath smothers it quickly. A good couple of efforts from the Mugs there, but nothing doing, much in the same way that there hasn't been anything good for Blake Mullen. Battle of the two keepers right now. Advantage has definitely been for Connor Meath in that regard because of the fewer attacks, but Mullen has proven himself equal to some serious challenges that probably would have bested a good number of other opponents that the Jumbos had earlier this season. Rojas is in the center there. He's going to mess around with it. Eichhorst is there. That'll be knocked down by a Monks defender. Some moans coming from the Tufts stands. Thought that was a handball, but it was a good play from, I'm going to say that was number 8, Adalton Gomer, who's been fantastic on the back line. Just as good, in fact, as this Jumbo back line, as Weatherby knocks Cody Elliott away from challenging him too much. Tasker's on the near side. He'll take that pass. A little too far forward for Eichhorst, but Tasker's back on it again. Pass up to Halliday. Halliday moving into the center, but that's going to be spiked away from him by Baker. Baker and Taylor working together again to keep the Jumbos away from the goal. Weatherby's going to control it on the far side. His pass up to Lane is actually going to go towards Rojas and be given up back towards the Monks. That's Spencer McGee taking control there. Eichhorst and Rojas. That's going to be Lane who passes out to Van Brewer. Van Brewer fakes towards the near side and then goes back out towards the far side, but that's picked up on the Monks defense again. Eichhorst back to Zinner. Saw a lot of Zinner in the first half on the near side. We'll be seeing more of him again as he was switched just before the half to the far side, but with the switch in goals, he's now back on the near side. Goal kick, the next one for Blake Mullen, first of the half, in fact. 39 minutes left to play. We are 6 minutes into this first half. So no stoppage time, as it were, from the two halves. But the two, I believe they are 10 minutes each. 2 10-minute overtime periods in case the score remains tied at the end of these 39 minutes. Mullen's goal kick is going to be lofted all the way towards the center. Corralled by Brett Matos, but then immediately lost by Jojo Strabino. Once again, back to the Tufts back line. Zinner up to Van Brewer. Van Brewer back to Zinner. Fish aren't biting on the near side, so Coleman will try on the far side. Sterling Weatherby is going to be challenged by Cody Elliott. Elliott follows up. That's going to be Zach Lane, though. Lane to Halliday, or excuse me, that was Kolsar. Lane and Kolsar trying to find something, but nothing good comes up. Rojas, Halliday, Kevin Halliday will challenge there. Knocked away by Weatherby. That'll be picked up by Brett Rojas, who passes out to, that's Van Brewer. Van Brewer back to Zinner. Once again, back to the same reset position that the Jumbos love to possess so much. Coleman, once again, back in Jumbo territory. Zinner moves it into Monks territory, finds an open Halliday. Halliday at the top of the box. He has options, but his first shot is going to be knocked away by Sean Baker. Good defensive play to get it back out into the midfield zone. Mitchell Duncan fighting on 2v1 the hard way. He's going to beat Weatherby, that looks like, but not quite enough to keep it away from him permanently. Halliday and Weatherby are going to move up the line. That's Zach Lane. Lane's pass is going to find its way into the top of the box, but immediately kicked away, this time by Keenan Welzel. Welzel, a good presence, who subbed in just before the end of the first half. Really nice play there. Jumbo's back in the top of the box, though. These some great efforts being put forward by the Jumbos to get themselves in the position to score. But combination of Blake Mullen and a shutdown backline has kept them off the board now almost 10 minutes into the first half. 37 minutes left to play. 8 minutes down. And a refereeing, something's going on. Ref decided to halt play for the moment. Clock has stopped. 36:45 left in the game.
The referee went like this.
Discussing the sign that the referee made, crossed his arms over his head. Couldn't quite see it in time, though. So discussing with the coaches. Clock has restarted, so everything seems to be in order, though. Nobody's on the ground holding any body part in pain. So
Yeah, it was
Mullins'
interesting.
free kick will sail over into Zach Lane's waiting feet. Controlled once again by the Jumbos. That'll be Brett Rojas who crosses the field out to Tasker. Tasker cruises up into the Monks territory. Cross attempt is kicked away by, that's Dalton Gomer again. Really nice play to be picked up there. Bordiudo is back in though. Bordiudo breaks up the play there and moves back to work with the Jumbo's second corner kick of the half. Van Brewer stays short to give a passing option to Halliday, it looks like. Halliday's kick is going to be a little bit too far. Coleman heads that immediately out of bounds and gives that to another goal kick for Blake Mullen to send back out. Blake Mullen sets himself up once again. This is the extent of the Monks' attempts to control the ball. Mullen takes his time to consider his options and let the clock run down a little bit. The Monks have decided that the best way to sort of run time down the clock is not to control it themselves, but to get the ball back into Tufts territory as much as possible. Big shot from Brett Rojas is kicked away by Sean Baker, it looks like. Baker and Gomer do a nice job, and that's going to be Brett Rojas on the ground. I believe that was Jojo Strabino and Brett Rojas working around themselves, and Brett Rojas doing his best to draw the call, and the moans of protest coming from the tough side of the stands are mingled with the cheers of the good play made by Strabino there. Blake Mullen will take his second free kick of the half. Well, fourth if you count the goal kicks. That'll sail into Tufts territory for Strabino and Kolsar. Kolsar wins that battle there. Good play for Borniudo, but nothing quite good. Van Brewer out to Eichhorst. Back to Toomey. Toomey controls that. He's going to pass that up. And that'll be knocked out of bounds by a Monks player. Picked up by the Jumbos. I believe that is Weatherby. Sterling Weatherby out to Rojas. Rojas passes up, but that's going to be picked up by Gomer. Gomer to Toomey. Energetic play for sure coming from Rojas, but that's exactly what we have come to expect from him from a number of years of watching him play out here at Bellow Field. A Monks free kick, or excuse me, a Monks throw-in. Deep in Tufts territory now. This is representing probably their next best chance of the half to play, or to make a play for a scoring opportunity. Not often that they get the full squad up into the penalty box, whereas Tufts often commits most of the team to the penalty box to put something together. That's going to be a really great play from Jojo Strabino to try to re-corral that from number 9, Kevin Halliday, but too much contact is going to knock Halliday over and give the free kick back to Tufts. Weatherby will take the kick here. Matos is up to keep the pressure on. Header from Baker is going to be controlled by Rojas, but then immediately kicked away by a Monks defenseman. Lane and Weatherby out on the far side. That'll go back to Kolsar. Kolsar to Rojas. Pass back to Halliday is going to be corralled by Gomer. Gomer's pass is going to actually sail out of the field right over the short fence that's next to the Tufts dugout. Some of the Tufts bench players will go chase it down.
For the Jumbos, entering is number 3, Christian Zazali. Placing number 27, Matt Zinner.
Christian Zazali is in this time for, I believe it was Zinnick. Zazali, a junior midfielder. Sets himself. Quick play, though, is going to result in another goal. Yet another goal kick for Blake Mullen to take care of. This kick is going to not quite make it out of Monks territory. Jojo Strabino tries to make a play, but Brett Rojas is there to take control. Jackson Taylor takes control. Strubino. Coleman's there, though. Some quick exchanges going on. Tasker's there to try to make something happen. Halliday regains control, and Strubino's going to send it rocketing out of bounds for Van Brewer to pick up. Another tough substitution. This is going to be Brett Rojas coming out for what?
Substitution on for the Jumbos,
For
number 12.
Max Jacobs.
Max Jacobs replaces number 10, Brett Rojas.
Zizali back out to Coleman. Coleman to Weatherby. Switching the field once again. Lane charging up the far side now, doing his best to beat Baker. Baker is equal to the task, though. And gets the throw in for the Monks. 30 minutes left to play. We are 15 minutes into the first half here. 30 minutes left of regulation. And the Monks' top-ranked defense in the country is holding steady against the defending champions of the NCAA tournament from 2016. Jumbos are really going to have to put some more thought into unified attack if they're going to, if they want to avoid overtime and penalty kicks. Here, this could be it. A beautiful shot from number 7. Dexter Eichhorst is going to sail right into the hands of Blake Mullen, though. Blake Mullen, one could argue, is the best goalkeeper in NCAA men's soccer history, given his beautiful sterling shutout streak. He holds the NCAA record of the consecutive shutout minutes and an NCAA record of consecutive shutout games at 19, beating a 20-year-old record so far. He's not going to let just some run-of-the-mill national champions walk all over him and his Monks.
Yeah, I think one of the keys to his success is really just his height. If you look on the sheet we have here, he is 6'7", far and away the biggest player on the field. So he didn't even have to jump for that ball; it just went straight to his hands.
Much more of a basketball center or a linebacker than a defensive than a goalkeeper for a soccer team. But absolutely right. Some of those balls could, you're going to need some kind of reaction time, whereas he just kind of had to keep his hands up and just it didn't even look like he was trying, quite frankly. But he certainly found his calling for athletic pursuits. Zizali's header is going to be knocked away and allowed to roll out of bounds by number 5, Jackson Taylor, which is a good way to get the ball back. Jojo Strubino and Dexter Eichhorst exchanging a little bit of a sibling rivalry, kind of like, don't touch me, no, I didn't touch you game going on. Watch out for any more of those interactions between the two of them. Weatherby and Lane out on the far side. Weatherby decides to switch the field again. Coleman out to Tasker. Tasker was by himself, but he's quickly picked up by Borniudo. Brett Mattos has been very effectively shut down this game so far by the Tufts backline. Just a quiet game. One would have hoped that you could hear us saying his name a little bit more with making plays, but he's been very effectively overguarded, shall we say, outnumbered on whatever defensive assignments Tufts has going. Out to Tasker again. Taylor's there. Halliday's shot is going to be easily picked up by Blake Mullen, and that's the kind of play back when I was, in my many moons ago when I was a goalkeeper. Those are the kinds of balls that I dreaded because yes, they're right there, should be able to pick them up, but sometimes they just roll right through the wickets.
Yep.
Not for a professional like Blake Mullen, though. That's going to be Brett Matos now. He'll make the play around there. A nice attempt at getting around the back line from Quinn Hewitt. Man, we haven't heard too much this game either, but that'll be easily picked up by the back line, and Connor Meath doesn't even have to look at that. You could honestly sit back, have a cup of coffee if you really wanted to. That's how shut down this Tufts back line has been.
Yeah, we finally saw a little bit of number 32 there, although his wing wasn't able to corral the ball on that pass. They might have had a really good scoring opportunity there.
Zizali does like what he sees for an opportunity with Kevin Holiday. Holiday, short dribbles, kind of a pump fake kind of a deal to beat the first 4 defenders that he gets to. But that is nothing to fool Sean Baker with. And he not only knocks it out, but actually knocks it out off of a Tufts, I believe that was off of Holiday. Gives the ball back to Blake Mullen, who controls it for a few more seconds.
For the Jumbos, number 26, Calvin Arrow was on, replacing number 13, Travis Van Brewer.
Van Brewer takes his second rest of the game. As Calvin Arrow comes in.
A lot of substitutions coming from Tufts. We've had one every 5 minutes almost.
A little bit, a fair bit of sort of more of the same, what I'm going to call a sibling rivalry kind of interaction where you sort of get a little bit tangled up. You don't actually want to hurt someone or, you know, purposely draw the foul from someone, but there's a more than strictly necessary interaction between the arms and bodies of the two players going for the ball. No call there as Blake Mullen's next goal kick finds Gavin Tasker. Halliday is there to save the Tufts possession there, and keeping everything away from the Monks. And Tufts resets back to their back line. That's Zazali, Weatherby, and Coleman right now. Jackson Dejar has been on the bench since the first half. 25 minutes left to play. 20 minutes into this first half, or second half, excuse me. Matos up there to make the play. Kolsar is there, or excuse me, that's not Matos. That was number 13, Borny Udo. Strabino out to Elmore. That's going to be kicked away by the Tufts back line. Easy kicked, taken away again by Dalton Gomer. Gomer to Hewitt. Hewitt back to Lane. Toomey's there. This is Delaney now. Delaney back to Zazali. This is Delaney. Tasker. And that's Borniudo forcing Tasker to take the error and send the ball out of bounds. Taylor taking his time. Hit the Monks' flavor of controlling the ball.
Ryan Brunavuda. For the Jumbos, on is number 27, Matt Zinner, replacing number 19, Sterling Weatherby.
Borniudo takes a seat for Jesse Ramirez as the ball finds its way into Jumbo territory for what I believe is the third time this game so far. Jumbo's throw-in, though, is going to give the possession back to Tufts.
Yeah,
and set them up for their next run into Monks territory.
27 Zimmer's on there, too. He's a great player.
Unfortunate, unforced error from, I believe that was Toomey. Handball just kind of bounced up and caught him in the hand, quite by accident. Noah Elmore is going to keep the pressure on Kevin Holiday. A bit too far away for a proper attack into goal. You can't just take the shot from where he is. But that's going to find its way into the top of the box and be headed away by Monks defenseman.
A little higher might have had a chance.
Zinner for Delaney. Delaney and Taylor. That's going to be a Tufts throw-in. Nice defensive play, or good offensive play from Holiday. Zazali's cross is going to be found this time by number 24, Hewitt, back on the defensive end of things. Ramirez and fighting Lane alongside. That was the best opportunity that was going to happen there. Good action and great way to go from the back line. Good play from Elmore. Elmore doing a great job against the Tufts back line right now, but there's just a few too many against the attacking core. It's a very defensive-centric side of things right now. I believe if I had to guess, they'd be running. St. Joe's is running something of a 4-4-2, where it's much more focused on keeping as many people back as possible. Toomey's having some words right now with. Couldn't quite tell if that was with his own team or if he was talking trash to one of the Jumbos, but another similar free kick for the Jumbos here. Holiday is going to take this one again.
Yeah, I think on that play, he was just wrapping his arms around. There's been a lot of contact in this game, but there's some that's not acceptable.
Knocked away again by Blake Mullen, and that's a good effort from the Jumbos there to beat the back line, beat the competent back line, and that's probably going to have to be how the Jumbos get on the board here, is just do their best to, because the Monks back line has just proven equal to and superior to the task of, of breaking up the majority of whatever runs that the Jumbos offense makes. So far, Blake Mullen has been able to clean up whatever mess that the Monks backline leaves for him. But if the Jumbos are going to do this, if the Jumbos are going to make it happen, they need to create some kind of overwhelming opportunity that beats Blake Mullen. Hasn't happened yet, and they are now officially beginning to run out of time as we make our way down towards the 20-minute mark. Mullen's kick is going to be lofted all the way into Jumbo's territory. Coleman's there to win the header. That's Delaney and Lane with Matos and Ramirez fighting for it. Toomey's back there. Toomey along with Spencer McGee. Good moves. That's a breakaway now. 3-on-3 for the Monks offense. Pass up is going to be kicked away by Coleman. Out to a throw-in for the Monks, but a great way to break up the run there from Coleman.
Yeah, Jumbo's backline has played exceptionally well today, really limiting, one, the influence of number 32,
Connor Coleman,
and also controlling that clock, making sure that St. Joseph's doesn't have the ball. They're really a key to why this game is still 0-0.
Borniuto rejoins the game along with Zach Javoro. Noah Robinson's back in too. Coach for the Monks doing his best to keep as many studs or as many of his starters on as possible.
Into the Jumbos on is number 13, Travis Van Brewer. Replaces number 6, Tyler Kulser.
Tyler Kulser off for the first time this game as Van Brewer checks back in.
Looks like he's grabbing his leg too, so he might be injured.
Could be something to watch out for. Kulser is definitely one of the pillars of this Jumbo's team, both from a off-the-field leadership standpoint and an on-the-field playmaking and support standpoint. Monks back with the ball. 19:16 left to play. Some fighting, a little more of the sibling rivalry thing going on. Couldn't quite tell. Slightly unfortunate deal for the Monks to lose the ball on a call like that. But nothing too earth-shaking for the change there. That's going to be no, that is Ratson. Or, excuse me, Jacobs. Third time's a charm. Jacobs on the far side right now fighting with number Borniuto, looks like. Bit of a fall. That'll be a Tufts throw-in, or excuse me, a Tufts free kick. Similar angle, similar distance again as the two from this side of the field, but this will be taken from the far side. Can't quite see who's taking the shot from out there. But that shot's going to go up into the top of the box and headed away this time by Baker. Baker at the top once again. Ramirez fights for it. Halliday's going to take control. That'll be Trevorrow. Trevorrow, Taylor's there. That's going to be Strabino. That's going to be blocked by Strabino. Gavin Tasker's on the shot there. Van Brewer lofts it for a play to be made. Coleman's there, but that's going to be headed away once again, this time by Jackson Taylor. Fantastic play from the back line again. That'll be Halliday, pass in the center, and kicked away once again by the Monks. That's Elmore. Elmore doing his best to keep the pressure on the back line right now. That's going to be crossed. Zizali. Trevorrow was open, but Zizali's going to send it right back to where it was. That'll be Tasker out on the far side, beaten this time by Borniudo and Baker. Zinner back into the center once again. Quick shot from Delaney, best chance, and smothered once again by Blake Mullen. And that's exactly what we're talking about. That's a good four or five attempts that were broken up by the backline, by that really excellent and effective Monks backline. But finally, once Tufts had put together a little something that was too much for the backline, Blake Mullen was there to just finish them off. Or not finish them off, but keep things together. Score is still tied at 0. That's number 24, Quinn Hewitt again, getting a little handsy on, that was Jack Delaney. Zizali's going to charge back in with Elmore in pursuit. Trevorrow's, Pastor Trevorrow is good. Taylor on there. Hewitt is going to knock that away and give that back to Tufts. Trevorrow, quick throw in, out to Holiday. That's going to be broken up by Taylor and cleared by McGee, or excuse me, Dalton Gomer. Zinner, pass all the way up is going to be not too much. It's going to be saved by Blake Mullen. Looks like Delaney decided to keep him honest and make him pick it up. 16 minutes left to play. We are just about a half an hour through the second half, and these Monks have done an excellent job against the third-ranked Tufts Jumbos. Trevorrow back to Delaney. Delaney out to Zizali. Back to Delaney again. Elmore with the pressure right now from the Monks. That's Hewitt to keep things honest. Taylor sends it back up, but that's going to go right back to the Tufts backline with Arrow helping out Zinner, Coleman, and Zizali. That's Gavin Tasker moving up through the muck of the Monks backfield, but once again, Blake Mullen is equal to the task. It's that same kind of thing we saw earlier, just an easy save with that giant wingspan and freakishly tall physiology that he has, that Blake Mullen uses to his advantage.
Yeah, you can see why they're really.
Kick's going to be taken by Brett Matos. Knocked away by Zizali, but Matos is going to send it back up again for Elmore. Zizali is there to box him out, and looks to be a free kick for Zizali, which he took quickly to keep things moving. But few moans of protest from the Monks side of the field. Looks pretty clean, though. Zizali's pass up to Holiday is going to be challenged by Strubino. Strubino still with him to take it away. That's going to be Toomey this time on Holiday. Centering cross is going to be taken away, or broken up by number 12, Baker, and then picked up once again by Blake Mullen. So a good effort there with the cross into the penalty box, as I believe it was Eichhorst who was charging in to make a play happen, but nothing else happening there. Kick's going to be won by, I believe that was Kolsar in the backfield. It could have been Arrow, but ball finds its way back deep into Monk territory once again. And that's going to be Borniudo with a really nice play to strip the ball away from Tasker and get the ball back onto the Monk side of things. A little bit too far away for Matos to take, but that's going to be not quite broken away. That was the opportunity, though. Matos really had to make something happen right there if he was going to score in that moment, and it was unfortunate for him that he couldn't quite control it as much as he needed to. Jumbo's moving back into Monk's territory again. Toomey's there to challenge. That's going to be Jacobs. Jacobs, too much momentum for him to control, and that'll be another goal kick. Yes, another goal kick for the Monks. Oh, excuse me, that wasn't Eichhorst who made that play earlier.
Number 15, Alec Gretchen is on for number 12. That's Jacobs. St. Joseph's. Number 19, Noah Robinson is on for number 13. Ryan Buniota. Number 3, Kobe Elliott is on for number 10. Jesse Ramirez. And number 2, Mitchell Duncan is on for number 30. Noah Elmer.
Good breakup there for Blake Mullen on the play. A little bit of a tough fall for Sean Baker, but he's back up and moving around. Zizali back to Zinner. Zinner out to Tasker on the far side. Tasker, a little bit of pressure from two different monks right now. Bit of a spherical defense right now for the monks, keeping things from moving too quickly into the center. Trevorrow's on the far side. He'll be challenged by Taylor. Taylor strips the ball away and is going to take that back up to the near side, close to the midfield. Arrow's going to be there to pick it up for Tufts. To Rojas. Rojas is going to be knocked around by Strabino and rolls a little bit too egregious of a sliding tackle. Catches just enough of Taylor to draw the call for Brett Rojas. Rojas, we've discussed it earlier, he's got a little bit of a reputation for being a hothead, and having a slightly too energetic trip like that is gonna will draw a call for something like that. Toomey's there to pick up the loose ball. He's gonna keep driving in. That's Brett Matos. Pass to, should have been to Elliott, I believe. That was intended for Cody Elliott, was picked up by Zinner. That's kind of gonna come back out to Tasker as he charges up. Brett Rojas back to the middle. He's gonna be challenged by Strabino. Strabino catches just enough of the heel to break it up. That wasn't Brett Rojas, excuse me. That was Eichhorst, Dexter Eichhorst moving up. Good break up by Hewitt. Too much for Trevorrow. Trevorrow back to Van Brewer. Van Brewer out to Zazali. Zazali resets. Tries to cross the field, but that's going to be picked up by Cody Elliott. Cody Elliott immediately loses it, though, back to Ratson. Ratson to Zinner. Zinner back to Van Brewer. Van Brewer and Hewitt going at it right now. That pass is going to be found by Taylor. Jackson Taylor clears it back out to Connor Coleman. 10.5 minutes left to play. Monks have got to be thrilled with how they're doing right now against the defending champions. Very competent backfield. He's keeping a physical and competent Tufts attacking core at bay very well right now. Mitchell Duncan loses that to Arrow. Arrow charges in as he hands the ball off to Tasker. Tasker moving into the center. Back to Eichhorst. Eichhorst to Arrow. And offsides call on Calvin Arrow is going to give the ball right back to the Monks. Time running out for both sides right now. Monks know that this was going to be a war of attrition. Conditioning and skill for both sides has to hold up in the next half hour or so of play for either one to walk away with a victory. That was, I believe, Van Brewer sending it back up, but Jackson Taylor is equal to the task. That'll bounce off of Brett Rojas a little bit too hard. Give the throw in back to the Monks. That's Toomey and Gomer in the backfield. Taylor's going to send it as far up as he possibly can. Brett Matos is there. Knocked away by Zazali, and Taylor will have his second throw-in of the run. Substitutions happening as the clock winds down past 9 minutes.
Substitutions. St. Joseph's on is number 8. Granada and Bongo replaces number 3.
Mabongo in for the Monks as the Monks' next attack is easily knocked away with the ball coming back into Monks' territory. Broken up by Gomer. Gomer and Brett Rojas working against each other. Van Brewer and Hewitt going for that ball. Van Brewer gets it back to the Tufts back line. Zinner to Coleman, out to Weatherby. Weatherby takes his time, crosses the field, but that's going to fall in right for Jackson Taylor to pass back up to Hewitt. Gavin Tasker is there. Good slide from Hewitt. It's going to keep the ball in his possession. He's going to charge into Tufts territory, but Tasker is going to strip the ball away and get it to Coleman. Coleman with Duncan. Mitchell Duncan making it happen against Coleman. They'll retreat back towards the midfield line as Sterling Weatherby brings the ball back with him. Coleman to Zinner. Hewitt's challenging. Tasker again on the near side. Taylor's going to be there to strip the ball away. Zinner doesn't even bother with the pursuit. Coleman and Meath are there to pick things up. Arrow in the center. Looks at the pressure. Lofts out to Tasker, and that will be out on Tufts. I believe nobody actually touched it after the long pass. Jackson again on the throw-in. That, I don't even think that pass went in, or if it did, it immediately went back out.
For the Jumbos, on is number 9, Kevin Holliday. Places number 15, Alex Ratson.
Kevin Holliday once again out on the field for the Jumbos. Stripped away by the Monks. Arrows there to catch the clearance from, that's Mabongo there. Mabongo making his own plays happen. Doesn't need any support there, but he strips it away. Connor Coleman is there to shut that down before anything too crazy happens. Arrow back in the center. Back to Zinner. Zinner and Hewitt. Once again, Hewitt. A little bit of pressure on Zinner right now. Not entirely necessary, but keeps things together. 6 minutes left to play in the regulation time for this second round tournament game. Of course, not quite in that shot from, I believe that was Zach Lane, is going to sail to the right. Does not even merit a response from Blake Mullen.
Yeah, it looks like he didn't have his whole foot on that, but he still wanted to get something off anyways.
Last 10
Getting
minutes of the
desperate
game,
here for Tufts.
anything goes right now in terms of making something happen, because you want to avoid the overtimes. Those sneaky periods where, as I just said, anything can happen. Especially want to avoid the penalty kicks with if it comes down to pure skill between keeper and someone taking shots. I would not want to bet against Blake Mullen in a contest like that. Van Brewer and Hewitt are going to get locked up though there. Will be just enough to get the ball back to midfield for the Tufts backline to reset and quarterback another play. Mabongo's there. He's going to break up that pass to Zach Lane. Mabongo's pass back to, I believe that's Borniudo, if I had to guess.
This is kind of
excuse me, that's Noah Robinson.
Territory for Tufts, I think. I mean, they've been so successful that there's an opponent who's just absolutely shutting them down, and they can't wait, look for passes from the back line. They have to make plays now, and I think that's starting to get on them a little bit, and I think that the Monks are realizing this.
It's good, very good observation. Tufts is 15-1-2 on the season, so not at all used to playing from behind and catching. Not at all used to playing catch-up in situations like this. The only game they lost was a 1-0 game, as I mentioned earlier. So even in close games like that, it's tough to know how you're going to perform unless you play them over and over and over again like that. And with this such a high pedigree that the Tufts team has right now, I don't think they've had enough practice like that. So definitely a good litmus test for the rest of the tournament if they can walk away from this game with a victory. But as we said earlier, top-ranked defense in the country with, quite frankly, the best goalkeeper in recent memory, who now holds, as we said earlier, the NCAA record for consecutive shutout minutes. If any time to rub your hands and sprinkle a little fairy dust on the Tufts attacking core, now is the time.
It's interesting that you say they're Tufts playing from behind. I mean, it's still 0-0, but it feels like Tufts is in a very desperate situation right now.
More so, especially because of their relative difference in how they're ranked. This St. Joseph's College squad is not in the top 25 ranking as of last weekend's United Coaches poll, whereas Tufts was ranked 3rd in the country, and quite frankly, a near consensus pick for making the Final Four in this tournament. So you're absolutely right. It's technically still tied, but I wouldn't be surprised if more thoughts going through Tufts right now should have said that St. Joseph's should have been well and easily put away. Next best shot, though, is going to be knocked away by the Monks defense. Remains strong in the face of the most adversity they've probably faced so far this year. Undefeated so far in in this season. They are 19-0-1 against opponents. That one tie, it was a scoreless tie against Norwich very early on in the season, keeping that scoreless streak alive for Blake Mullen. 2 minutes left to play, though, in the second half here. We'll have that first, unless something happens. We've got 120 seconds left for something to happen. But for the moment, it looks like we are heading towards first overtime. Tufts backfield, once again, breaking up the next attack from the Monks. Eichhorst controls it on the far side. Easy pass to the center for Arrow to pick up. Arrow to Halliday. Halliday can't quite control it, though, and we'll go right back to being set up with the Tufts backfield. Tasker on the near side against Taylor once again. Good physicality from Taylor is keeping Tasker off balance right now, and that's going to sail out. I believe that was on Taylor. 1 minute 20 left to play. This is probably it for Tufts, the last good attacking opportunity that they'll have in regulation time here.
Yes, this would be massive for Tufts if they could convert here. This would be massive for Tufts if they could convert here.
Halliday's kick goes up, headed in just a bit over the pipes there. But honestly, if you could see that, hopefully you.
Less than 1 minute remaining in the second half.
Hopefully you can see that on your screen from here and over the rest of the noise that's coming from the stands right now. But even just with that, Mullen had his hand equal in height to the rest of the pipe. That's just insane how much reach he can get. Even without that high of a jump, he just has so much coverage just by using his body like a regular person. So very lucky for this Monks defense to have someone so prolific in goal back there.
And it looks like the end of time is
10 seconds left,
here.
and that will be it. Or not quite. The last attack right here, knocked away by the Monks. And that will do it for regulation time here. 2 45-minute halves with the two best defenses in the country. I can't imagine that anyone could have expected any other kind of result as a 0-0 tie right now. But this is the NCAA tournament, and so we'll have about a 5-minute break before we get back to you with the first overtime period of this game. So we're going to take a quick break, and don't go anywhere. We got first overtime coming up right after this. And we're back once again for some more NCAA tournament action here at Bevel Field, Medford, Massachusetts, Tufts University. I'm your host, Andrew Macmillan. And it's just been quite, I told you it was going to be a barn burner, and maybe that wasn't quite the most accurate thing I could have said. It's definitely been a spectacle, defensive spectacle for the ages, with the two backfields of the St. Joseph's College Monks and the Tufts University Jumbos just trading blows. Definitely a bit of an advantage can give it to the Jumbos, the defending national champions, and just a sterling D3 soccer program out here in the suburbs of Boston. But St. Joseph's College of Maine has proven equal to the task of locking horns with the Jumbos and just not going anywhere. Definitely anchored by their goalkeeper, Blake Mullen. Can't speak highly enough of his abilities for keeping the Monks in this so far. Really, some really great opportunities that the Jumbos have put together, but each and every time that the Monks backfield hasn't been able to keep it together, Blake Mullen has proven equal to the task. But we're back now. Jumbos have immediately and honestly a little bit ferociously started off this first half, just going after each ball, after each possession so far. That's going to be knocked away by Mullen. Second shot's going to be once again kicked away by Borniudo. And the next effort from Kevin Holliday is going to sail wide and keep the game tied at 0. This is the first minute in, and the Jumbos have already taken it to the doorstep of the Monks backfield. Blake Mullen sets up for his next goal kick, keeping things slow in his way. Low pass is going to find its way into the chest of Zach Lane, but Quinn Hewitt is going to work around. Quinn Hewitt's going to be working around Zach Lane and draw the foul, it looks like. You can hear the cries of protest from the Monks fans. I think they were looking for something a little bit more severe to take things for Zach Lane, but nothing doing from the refs there. Clock stopped at 8:52. No stoppage time here for the collegiate tournament. Lofted is going to be knocked away by number 9, Kevin Holliday. This will be controlled by Duncan. Mitchell Duncan back to Taylor. Taylor's going to beat the challenge from Jacobs there. Matos out to Toomey. Toomey's going to cross the field this time out to Hewitt. Hewitt brings back to the center. Nice shot is going to be just barely knocked away from Connor Meath. That's the highlight reel of a save there. It's the classic picture of being absolutely horizontal to the ground and only your upper hand being able to knock the ball away. Great shot from, I believe that was Hewitt on the far side. But that's going to be a Monks corner kick. A little bit slow on the uptake, I think, was Mitchell Duncan as he jogs over to take the first one. Clock stopped once again. And already, first couple of minutes, we've seen more action than we did in any 10-minute span for the first regulation portion of the game. No headers there. That's going to be taken out by Borniudo. Borniudo challenged 2-on-1. Not going to be able to do anything with that. That'll be taken away by Zinner. Zinner charging back up the field into Monks territory. That'll be Arrow this time to pick it up, but there's too little too late right now for the Jumbos on this attack. That'll be picked up by Van Brewer. Monks defense has reset itself into the penalty box. And the same kind of a deal with 7.5 minutes left to play. Nice shot this time from Sterling Weatherby is going to be knocked away by Blake Mullen. And you can see that great quality save there from Blake Mullen, but just the difference in effort level that Meath just put into his and Mullen put into theirs it speaks to the difference in physiologies. Meath much more reasonable size for a soccer player, and once again showing off his physiology, just not even really jumping, but still plucking the ball away from a couple inches above everyone else's heads was Blake Mullen. Take things down. 6:50 left to play. We are cruising towards the halfway point in this first overtime period. Matos working to make a play. Nothing good. And that's going to be Toomey being thrown to the ground, but nothing, no bad call there. No foul play from the ref on that one. That's going to be Jacobs working against Hewitt, who will send that out over the fence again for the Jumbos to chase down. Weatherby's throw into Eichhorst. Eichhorst will return it right back to Weatherby. Weatherby to Jacobs. Jacobs on the far side. That's going to be knocked out of bounds by Dalton Gomer, and set themselves up, just setting Tufts up for their next corner kick.
I want to apologize for that outburst on Tufts' goalie's save there, but what an effort. I mean, incredible.
A really nice effort there, a really well executed corner kick from, looks to be, I would guess, Van Brewer, as he's been taking these more often than not. But that's going to sail right by everyone else and keep the score tied at 0. Blake Mullen, once again on the goal kick, sending that back out to the midfield zone. Right there for Zach Lane, but Hewitt's going to pick that up. Pass that out for Borna-Udo. Borna-Udo up against Zinner, who's going to give it a little bit too much mustard, fall over himself, and give that back to the Jumbos. That's Van Brewer. Tasker's moving up the field with Matos giving chase. Matos and Tasker on the near side. Centered to Eichhorst. Eichhorst back straight into, I believe that was Gomer again. Dalton Gomer on the play. Weatherby up to Lane. Lane's going to take a big fall. No foul play ruled again. He's up quickly. Eichhorst. Big one. That's going to be punched away by Blake Mullins, using his physicality to dwarf Gavin Tasker and keep the play from happening. 4:17 left to play in this first overtime period.
There's been a lot of contact on both sides, but the refs really seem to just want to let them play. So
definitely more so than the first couple of halves. I think the emotions are starting to boil over just a bit, which I think overtime generally tends to do to people. Blake Mullins on the goal kick once again. That'll be lofted out, this time towards the near side. It's going to be Borna-Udo doing his best to make a play. Jacobs is there. He's going to be foiled again in his attempt, though. Toomey looking towards the near side. And he's going to beat Eichhorst's attempt to take the ball away. And that's going to be a nice little pass to Borna-Udo, who passes it right back up to Matos. Quick plays. This time it's Duncan. Duncan on the near side, working against Zinner. Zinner is going to Zinner's going to keep the ball for Tufts on that one. Duncan doing his best to knock the ball off of Zimmer and give himself a corner kick, but nothing doing.
Number 10, Jesse Ramirez, replacing number 24, Quinn Hewitt. For the Jumbos, on is number 15, Alex Ratson, replacing number 12, Matt Jacobs. And number 10, Brett Rojas, replacing number 13, Travis Van Boer.
Good effort on the header. Rojas is in the game once again. Fiery attacking midfielder, looking to make a play happen. Monk's backline sailing in. No unruly contact declared. Elmore's in this time for Duncan now. A fresh set of legs on the attacking side of things. 2:30 left to play in this first overtime period. Rojas out to Eichhorst. Eichhorst out to Tasker now on the near side all by himself, centered. Big whiff from the backfield there, but that's going to be Baker who picks things up. And another shot from, I'm going to say that was Weatherby. Is going to find not find the net, but it's going to sail right just short of it. 2 minutes left to play in the first overtime period.
very close chance for Tufts right there. I didn't see who shot it, but if they had gotten it a little quicker, I think they could have had a really good chance at a goal.
Mullins, this time it's Ramirez now in the middle. Ramirez looking for a call, but not getting it. Refs are letting the guys play right now, as it were. Toomey can't quite get there in time. That's going to sting a little bit for Gomer. Or excuse me, no, that was Baker. Sean Baker on the play there. Tasker, once again, out to the near side by himself, challenged by 2. That's going to be easily kicked away by Dalton Gomer. And fight its way out of bounds. Brett Rojas will take the throw in for Tufts. 60 seconds left to play for the Jumbos, or excuse me, Jumbos and the Monks. Last minute of the first
1 minute remaining in the
period. That's the best opportunity they've seen so far, but that's also going to sail to the left. People are looking for a call. That's a corner kick once again. 48 seconds left to play. Same kind of a deal as the second half ended. Corner kick. This one's taken by Holiday. Holiday, that's Ratson on the near side. Lofted to the center. That header battle is going to be won by the Monks. Shot's going to be taken by, I believe that was Tasker, if I had to guess, but that is also going to sail to the right. 30 seconds left to play, and Mullen is going to do his best just to let the clock run down all the way and get his Monks to the second overtime period.
Jumbos were just so close on that last play. I think that was a save from by Mullen, but
and Mullen is just going to we'll let this run out all the way to the end. Once again,
really
10 minutes later, the 2 top defenses in this tournament have still not scored at all, and easily the best opportunities we've seen for both sides so far. Once again, though, Tufts definitely putting up more of an advantage when it came down to the number and quality of the opportunities that they made for themselves. Only 2 minutes left in between these 2 periods, so we're not going to go anywhere. I hope you don't either, because this is exactly what I promised it to be at the beginning, folks. Just a defensive gem of a game with 2 high-quality defenses and high-quality goalkeepers, just letting the it's the 2 immovable objects. There's the old cliche of what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. Well, this is 2 immovable objects being brought together by the unstoppable force of the NCAA tournament. Trevor, what have you liked so far? What's been your favorite sort of thing that you've noticed so far about this game?
I mean, I think you just got to start with Blake Mullen. I mean, he is the reason why this game is even going on, as long as it is, and will probably still be the reason why it's going to go on as long as it is. I mean, his range, he can stop any shot at the top or the bottom. He can dive. He has incredible instincts, and he's really also great at like getting up and
just quarterbacking the whole
too.
Defense from the goal side.
Could talk about like the quality of shots Tufts is getting or the amazing back lines of both teams, but I think really Blake Mullen has been the deciding factor in this game so far, and that really speaks to the quality of his play. Starts
and ends with Blake Mullen. I hardly agree with that. Probably favorite thing I've seen, though, is the increased sort of emotion that both sides have been playing with in this overtime period. It's just, it's win or go home for these 2, and Tufts with their the expectations they've had coming into this season, winning the NESCAC championship for the first time in program history. Still ranked 3rd in the country. They don't want to go home just yet. They win today, they'll be able to host both of next weekend's games that both of next weekend's tournament games. So 10 more minutes left to play, second overtime period. I believe now is the time for sudden death overtime. The classic just tiebreaker. How do we choose this? How do we choose for this to be done? Whoever scores first is the winner. And if we're still tied after 10 more minutes of play, then we go to penalty kicks. So, packed stadium here for both sides. Pretty equal numbers of fans, both from Tufts and St. Joseph's College, Maine. Tufts is going to start us off with possession here. Brett Rojas and Kevin Holiday will be the ones to inbound it for the Jumbos. 10 more minutes and we are underway again here at Bellow Field. Win or go home time for the Jumbos and the Monks. That's Weatherby And Duncan again on the near side. Quick throw in for Sterling Weatherby. Weatherby out to Rojas. Rojas lofts it. Deep in Monk's territory right now. That one's going to be sort of cleared, but that'll be out to Arrow for this in the center. Arrow switches the field. We're back to the Tufts backfield, considering their options. Coleman out to Weatherby on the near side. Weatherby back to Arrow. Arrow to Lane. Lane moving up the field. This time engaging Toomey. That's going to be a solid hit from number 19, Noah Robinson, on Lane. Knocks that out, and that'll be Blake Mullen once again for the goal kick. Biding his time again. Definitely in no hurry to get the clock going, but it's stopped right now, so there's no reason for him to do that here and now.
Yes,
9 minutes left to play now, 9:04.
Also an example of that increased physicality you were talking about.
Absolutely.
Pretty big shove there. Legal, but
definitely
forceful.
not something we saw. And that was a high kick of an unsafe nature, a little bit too close to Toomey's head for the ref's liking there, and especially if it's happening that close to the ref. That's going to be a call that just kind of happens regardless.
Yeah, that, however, is not going to be tolerated by the refs.
We love seeing increased physicality. We do want to see everyone safe and uninjured by the end of this game. So Dalton Garner is going to take this free kick. No contest there for Coleman. That's going to be a shot from, nice shot from Duncan, who kind of goes down on a knee to complete it. But Meath is equal to the challenge. 8:26 left to play in this second overtime period.
I think Duncan's wearing a baseball cap right now.
Baseball, well, I should hope so. The sun is just flying straight into his eyes right now for any kind of offsides call is what I would guess. Maybe here, we gotta step back, make sure we're not in the way of our viewers here. That'll be, that was Robinson on the throw-in. Back to Zinner. Zinner's gonna be tripped up, or yeah, taken away by Tui. And Strabino is gonna be knocked down and given a free kick for his troubles there. 7:30 left to play in this second overtime period. We're 25% of the way towards field kicks for the period. Blake Mullen will take this first free kick of the period for him. Lofted at the top of the box. Coleman's going to win the battle there. And that'll be Eichhorst taking it back for Rojas. Rojas's pass all the way up is going to be good for Lane, but that's going to be Baker who sort of keeps everything boxed out and turns something into nothing. That should have, by all rights, gone out for a corner kick, Tufts corner kick, but he kept that away just enough to turn it into a Tufts throw-in, much less a dangerous proposition for the Monks. And easy save for Blake Mullen there. A little bit too slow on the throw-in for Zach Lane. It just charges in. And you can hear the Tufts fans starting to hold Blake Mullen accountable for his controlling the ball. If there's not, we mentioned it earlier, but it's turning into a countdown for the Tufts fans. Nothing doing on that run from Blake Mullen's kick. It'll be out to Tasker on the far side, challenged by Borniudo. That'll be stripped away, and Strabino's going to send that all the way out of bounds once again for, this time I think the Monks bench will take care of that. Throw in from Zazali is going to be back to Zinner. Zinner challenged by Duncan. Duncan moving in. Zinner into the penalty box. And that's going to be a corner kick for Tufts, drawing a few cries of protest from the Monks bench. 5:22 left to play in the half. We're just about halfway through this second overtime period. Still a scoreless tie at Bellow Field for this second round NCAA tournament game. Corner kick is lofted and easily picked out of the air by Blake Mullen once again. I say easily. What I mean to say is that he makes it look easy. It's definitely not as easy as he's making it look. So, once again with the more ire from the Tufts fans there, but there's no rules against it as far as I can tell. And that kick's gonna fly over our makeshift press box for someone to go chase down. That's a St. Joseph's throw-in.
St. Joseph's on is number 3, Cody Elliott, replacing number 13, Ryan Brianna. Also on is number 30, Noah Elmore, replacing number 2, Mitchell Duncan.
Elmore finding his way back into the game for the attacking side of things. Borniudo subbing out in favor of another attacker. Another Tufts attack, 4 minutes left to play now in the period. That's going to be kicked out of bounds by Robinson. Robinson for Zach Lane to throw in. That's going to come out for Lane. Lane at the top. Lane's going to skirt around Elmore. Shot into the center is going to be headed away by number 3, Cody Elliott. Ball still in play, though. Rojas is going to loft it. Knocked away by Blake Mullins. That needs to... And I don't really know what was going on there, but must be a goal kick. Fine, or maybe some kind of a free kick would be my guess. But no goal, still scoreless tie for Blake Mullen and his Monks. I'll be headed back by Connor Coleman. Hewitt and Lane going up for it. That's going to be strongly booted away by Robinson, right back for Zazali to control. 3 minutes left to play in this second overtime period. Just can't commend this Monks defense enough, this back line with Baker, Robinson, Borniudo, and the others that I'm not naming at the moment, along with, of course, the cornerstone, Blake Mullins. Just an amazing, amazing job keeping this game together. That'll be a Monks throw-in. 2.5 minutes left to play. Going to keep you updated as much as we possibly can. Our apologies for a lack of a countdown timer right now. Some technical difficulties are keeping us from our fullest potential. If you can join us next week for NCAA tournament action, we should have those fixed. But for now, 2 minutes left. Another 30 seconds just passed in that time. Throwing all the way down is going to be for Zazali. Elmore giving chase, but the rest of the Monks squad is content to keep this at a 0-0 tie. Back to the Tufts back line as they consider their options. Zazali on the far side. He's going to work his way around Matos. Tasker to Eichhorst. Eichhorst back to Zinner. Zinner. He's going to cross to Weatherby on the near side. Weatherby moving in. Easy pass is going to be headed away by Taylor. Jackson Taylor's the one I'm mentioning. Special shout out to Jackson Taylor and his fans for an amazing, amazing defensive game, keeping this Tufts offense from stringing anything together. Eichhorst is back, though, at the top of the box. Slightly better pass is going to be headed in, but easily plucked away by Blake Mullen.
And Blake Mullen is down. He is hurting bad. Or is he?
Doesn't sound good. You hear a lot of moans of protest from the Tufts fans right now. Blake Mullen is down, though, and getting up slowly. Doesn't look like the easy. Doesn't sound like he's trying to draw a call right now, but definitely had the wind knocked out of him would be my guess. Rojas cleanly sailed, and I'd like to say that. I've been knocking Brett Rojas a little bit, but Brett Rojas had a really nice play and a little bit of contact against him. Just, I think, knocked the air out of Blake Mullen a little bit. So good play, good effort. Just Mullen needed a moment to catch his breath again. Really nice header there from Brett Matos to sort of set Elmore up. But when you're going up against 1v4 the hard way on the back line, Elmore grabbing a little bit too much on Coleman there. Trying to draw a call. A lot of physicality right now. Some refs are letting the boys play though. Punched away by Blake Mullen, and that's going to send it out for another Tufts throw-in. 35 seconds left to play in this period. Eichhorst throw-in to Rojas. Last good attempt. That's going to be knocked away for a corner kick. 25 seconds left to play. The last real attack of getting the call to slow it down. That's going to be knocked away by Strabino. Zinner. Back to Rojas. 12 seconds left to play. That's going to be kicked away. Strabino out.
Tufts probably has one more shot
And
here.
that is going to do it for the last attack. Nothing good. And that is something else. These are the two top-ranked defenses in, and I said it once, it's the two top-ranked defenses, and so they've done now 110 minutes of brutal back-and-forth play with no score, no result between the two of them. And as far as I know, it's time for penalty kicks, which is, I think, exactly what the St. Joe's College guys were sort of looking towards, because Blake Mullins turning in another, yet another shutout game, only the second tie of these for these St. Joe's College monks. But now this is exactly what they were looking for. It's all down to the keepers. It's all down to the keepers and their skill with how they can do on 5 penalty kicks per. We've got 4 minutes now until the next bit of action. We won't be going anywhere. Hope you don't either. We'll just keep talking to sort of keep filling the space. And Trevor, what was, we were talking about the physicality of these last 10 minutes. Do you think the refs should have had any more kind of sensitivity to some of the stuff that was going on? Of course, there was a lot of flopping near the end of it. You might have seen some of the Mugs players sort of trying to draw some calls at the very end. But what do you think of the sensitivity of the refs for those last 10 minutes?
I mean, clearly they did not want to call anything, whether it was a good call or a bad call or whatever. They were like, whether they were going down just to get a call or just actually going down, it seemed like the refs just wanted this to keep going and didn't want to stop the flow of the game. So that led to definitely a lot of physicality in those
Absolutely.
last 10 minutes. So
Absolutely. Which, in a way, I would probably agree with that being the sort of best possible way forward, because that's what these guys train for. They don't want to sort of keep stopping and starting for minor infractions or whatever it was. I think there was the one yellow card earlier on for Brett Matos, but it was the only sort of serious transgression. That's the only serious penalty that went on. And so for the rest of it, it was just a mostly clean game. You could have, of course, called, there were some unsafe kicks, maybe a couple of offsides, but there wasn't really any sort of any actual violence, any sort of like actual looking out for blood right now. The way there was a little bit last year during the tournament. Some of the games we called had some quite frankly pretty violent turns with just some of the emotions running high and just people being a little hot-headed with how rivalries were working and where they wanted to go. So not quite enough for Tufts, though, as they could not put together enough of a run to score. So they'll have to just try their luck against the single best goalkeeper in recent memory. And St. Joe's has to feel good about that, about keeping Tufts, one of the most dangerous offenses in the country, scoreless. What do you think about that for Tufts to be shut out for only the second time this season?
I mean, Tufts had many opportunities to score. Whether it was mostly on set pieces. Tufts actually did probably their best work on the set pieces, but every time they just tried to get into the box, there were about 3 or 4 St. Joe's players cutting off any passes, deflecting, and on the rare occasions when they did get to the goaltender, I mean, what else can you say about Blake Muller?
Just Blake. I don't think we can. I think we've said just about everything there is to say for Blake Mullins. So just congratulations to both teams for an incredibly well-played game. But for now, it's it's down to this is worth the price of admission by itself. Win it or go home when it comes to the skill of the two goalkeepers, Connor Meath and Blake Mullins. So 5 chances each. We'll have for both sides, and I believe, given the nature of the field and that the fact that Tufts is hosting, this will be Tufts will have their chances to go first. Zach Lane will be taking the first shot on Blake Mullins for the Jumbos. Setting himself up, it's technically another 15 seconds till the horn goes off, so they'll probably wait until that goes, just for the sake. Oh, no, they're just going to stop the clock. Lane's going to set himself up for this first goal kick of this tie game. And just easy peasy lemon squeezy for Zach Lane there. Just he faked one way, Mullins was fooled, and that was that. Easy, easy quick score right back into the left side for Lane there.
Connor Meath has really not been tested all that much today, so we'll see whether that helps him or hurts him in these PKs.
See how cold it is, how cold he's been for those two. And that's going to be saved. Brett Matos, the sort of rock of this St. Joe's offense, one of the most dangerous players in NCAA tournament action right now, could not fool Connor Meath. Attempted to do something similar to that Zach Lane just did, but Connor Meath was not fooled, or excuse me, that Zach Lane just did, but Connor Meath stuck with him and saved that first opportunity. So
that's probably going to end off an unusually silent day for number 32. Just one yellow card.
Connor Coleman on the next one is going to make it in. Blake Mullins was not fooled, but he was beaten. I believe that's the first time we've seen Mullins beaten, just sort of head-to-head. Of course, penalty, that's what penalty kicks are for, but Toomey needs to make this if the Monks are going to have any chance of moving on past this game.
I mean, that shot's basically almost unblockable.
So. Absolutely, yeah. Well, you would think with Blake Mullins, given his size, he'd have a better chance, but it adds to the ethos of there just being shots that are unblockable. So if Blake Mullins can't even catch that, then good night. So props to Connor Coleman for making that shot. Toomey on the shot. And it's going to be saved again by Connor Meath. Connor Meath equal to the task twice out of this, on this penalty shootout. And Zinner, part of that rock solid back line for the Jumbos. Coleman was the first out of the back line to take the shot, and now it's going to be Matt Zinner walking up to put it away. If Zinner can make this shot, that's it for the Monks. It'll have been a good game, but see you next year after this. Mullen has to know the pressure that's coming onto him right now. Knocked away this time. Mullins picks it up for the first time in this shootout.
Yeah, it looks like Zimmer kind of telegraphed where he was going a little bit. He was looking a little to the left.
A little bit,
so
yes.
Good guess by Mullen there.
This is going to be Robinson now for the Monks. It's not imperative, but it's pretty necessary that it's not quite win or go home yet for the Monks to make this shot, but it kind of is. Robinson's shot is going to make it in for the first time. Tufts leads this penalty shootout 2-1 going into the fourth of this, to the fourth round of this penalty shootout. If Travis Van Brewer can make the shot right here, then Tufts wins. Everybody goes home. So Blake Mullins really has to keep up the pressure and keep things together. And that's it. That'll do it. Mullins fooled once again.
I don't think that's it.
I think they're. Maybe I'm screwing that up, but I think we're gonna keep playing this out because that was the third made shot, right? For the Jumbos, believe so.
I think so. But if
because
Tufts
it could
misses
still be
another
tied.
shot,
Yes,
then
that's
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
If Tufts misses the 5th one, yes, that's my bad.
Well, he has to make it
Again,
here,
he does have to
otherwise-
make this one.
Otherwise, it's over.
This is Mitch Duncan on the shot. That's in. Excuse me, that wasn't Mitch Duncan. That was Mitch Sear. Mitch Sear keeps it together. Zach Lane once again on the shot for the Jumbos.
Still
Tufts
do
in the
or
lead,
die.
3-2 on the shots. Mullins has to block this to keep the Monks in the game. Mullins has to block this, and the Monks have to make their next shot in order to keep it together.
Tall order, but if there's anyone to do it, it's Blake Mullen.
That's it. That's the game. Sorry, folks. My apologies for screwing that up earlier. But that's the game right now. And Zach Lane has beaten Blake Mullins. Best goalkeeper they will probably see this season twice on penalty kicks. Tufts wins 4-2 on penalty kicks and will move on in the NCAA tournament. That's it from us. Thanks for sticking with us throughout this whole thing. My name's Andrew McMillan.
And I'm Trevor Russo.
Thanks so much, and we'll see you next weekend. Good night.